of a good Muslim. So while root can be the same as Akita, actually branch and the trunk is actually representing Islam. But a tree is not good if it does not produce fruits, brothers and sisters. The fruit of a Muslim is kindness, compassion, the contribution to fellow humans, and the contribution to humanity. So if we take analogy of a good tree, we can say that actually the root is the iman, and the trunk is actually Islam, and the fruit is actually ihsan. So iman, Islam should actually be actualized, should be manifested to doing good deeds to other people. This is called ihsan. So brothers and sisters, actually by contemplating in this analogy, I think it is very important for us to uh, always contemplate this, because it's encouraged us to be good Muslims by being a productive tree. So we can actually reflect our life. To what extent have we become a good Muslims? Brothers and sisters, therefore, Allah encourages us to be kafah in becoming Muslims. Ya ayyuhalladzina amanu udkhulu fis silmi kafah wa la tatabi'u khutuwatis syaitan. What does it mean? What is the meaning of kafah? Or if enter perfectly in Islam and do not follow the footsteps of Satan. So some ulamas and experts of Islam said that kafah means that Islam embraces a lot of aspects. So actually, when we are talking about Islam, we are not only talking about the ibadah mahdah we usually perform every day, like sholat, shaum, fasting or something like that. But Islam embraces a lot of aspects. We can bring Islam to our economy. We can bring Islam to our education. We bring Islam to every aspect of our life. And values outside Islam are usually not shumul. Islam, values outside Islam sometimes just not meet the characteristic of shumuliyah, like what Islam has. For example, a modern thought introduced an approach on life which is called humanism. Have you ever heard humanism, Bapak Ibu, brothers and sisters? Humanism suggests that human needs and happiness are the foundation upon which all values and policies and morality are built. So this is called humanism. So the morality is built on human needs. Values of life is built on human needs. The notion of good and wrong is built on human needs. That's called humanism. And of course, humanism to some extent contradict to Islam, especially in two ways. The first, in humanism, human being does not need God. And it is very important to notice a dialogue between a philosopher and a God. That sometimes authors of philosophy talk and write in their books. There is a dialogue. The philosopher asks God, God, is an action good because you say it is good, or because it is inherently a good action? And God replied, because I say it is good. And the philosopher asks, so God, if you that murdering innocent child is good, do you think it is a good action? And God said, oh, sorry. I mean, I want to say that a good thing is good because it is inherently good. And the philosopher said, so God, human beings don't need you to create the notion of good and bad and to establish the morality. This is actually the way of thinking of the modern philosophies that really contradict to the Islamic values. The modern philosophies sometimes negate the existence of God. The modern philosophies encourage us to do the good deeds without Allah values, without sidqah of Allah. Brothers and sisters, second, as a result of this kind of logical thinking, the notion of good and bad and morality can be flexible. You know, because it's based on the desire of human beings, so the morality is flexible, depending on the change in the human desire, depending on the needs and happiness of human beings. The morality, the notion of good and bad is negotiable. For instance, just for instance, if living together without marriage makes you happy, then it is morally valid, said humanisms, because it benefits to the humans being happiness, so it's morally valid. If the same-sex marriage makes you happy, then it is morally correct, because it's based solely on the human needs and human desire. Brothers and sisters, this approach of life does contradict the Islamic values. In Islam, the notion of good and bad, the good morality, is fixed and it is not negotiable. Zina is haram all the time. Zina was haram in the previous time, in the past times. Zina is haram in the present times, and zina is haram in the future times. So it's fixed. It does not change depending on the human needs and human desire. It is not negotiable. Gambling is haram all the time. Gambling was haram in the past time. Gambling is haram at present, and gambling is haram in the future time. Brothers and sisters, the third characteristic of the beauty of Islam is the balance between iman and ilm, iman and knowledge. Islam does not encourage the Muslims, people, to follow the blind faith. But Islam encourages people to establish, to cultivate, to strengthen their faith based on ilmu, based on knowledge. To discuss the importance of knowledge and ilm, there is another story of Sabit bin Qais. So there are some stories of Sabit bin Qais which makes Allah reveal his verses. He was a very good learner who was always thirsty of gaining knowledge. He has a problem with his hearing, so Sabit always sit down at the front of the majlis of the meeting with the Rasulullah. One day he came late in the majlis, brothers and sisters, and he wanted to sit down at the front near the Prophet. However, people who had sat down at the front did not want space for him. Rasulullah said, "Qum ya fulan, ya fulan, ya fulan, stand up, give space to Sabit," because Sabit once again want to sit down at the front, and they are unhappy because they sit down first at the front, and Rasulullah asked them to give space. One of them said, "Look, ladies and gentlemen, the Prophet is not fair. He asked us to stand up to give space to the person who was coming late." Because of this, Allah revealed His verse, Al-Mujadilah 11. Ya ayyuhalladzina amanu, oh you believe, idza qila lakum, when you are told, tafassahu fil majalis, to give space in assemblies or majlis, fafsahu, then give space. Yafsahillahu lakum, so Allah will give you ample space. Ample space means the mercy of Allah will be given to you if you give space. Wa idza qilan shufu fansuzu, when you are told to rise up, then rise up. Yarfa'illallahu alladhi na'amanu minkum walladhina utul ilma darajat. Allah will raise those who believe and those who are granted knowledge by degrees. Imagine, brothers and sisters, because of small majlis of ilm, meeting, to spread out knowledge, Allah revealed His verse. This means that ilm, or gaining knowledge, is very important. And any effort to pursue knowledge is preceded by Allah. The important aspect of the verse here is that knowledge or ilm should coexist with faith. Faith alone is not enough. By contrast, ilm or knowledge alone is not enough. Both knowledge and iman should coexist. They should go together. Ilm or knowledge without iman is crippled, lame. Such knowledge will create distance between God and human. The example is philosophical approach called empiricism. So I give you a lot of examples of the contradictions between Islam and other values, yeah, to really underline that Islam actually gives us a unique values to us. It's so unique that it differentiates its position toward any other values. Take the example of empiricism. Empiricism stresses the role of experience evidence to gain knowledge, especially sensory experience. If you can see and observe them, then it becomes true knowledge, said empiricism. As a result, knowledge does not include everything which we cannot capture with our sensory experience. So God cannot be observed. Hell cannot be observed, cannot be seen. Heaven cannot be seen, so it's excluded as a knowledge. So it's different from Islam. Islam embraces two kinds of knowledge: revealed knowledge and acquired knowledge. Because our sensory experience is limited, we should have iman to believe that there is a God, there is heaven, and there is a hell. And Allah, Rasulullah, encourage us to believe in alam ghaib. Alam ghaib cannot be captured by our sensory experience, right? Brothers and sisters, therefore, Islam assumes that the development of knowledge should be based on the strong iman. This will make humans and God get closer. In Islam, knowledge embraces both perennial knowledge and acquired knowledge. So, brothers, what is meant by revealed knowledge, Abdullah? What it means by revealed knowledge? Abdullah, revealed knowledge. The Quran, the Holy Book, is revealed knowledge. So that's the assets of Muslims, of every Muslims. But a Muslim also has a quiet knowledge. A quiet knowledge means that we have to do ikra. We have to read the ayat of Allah in the universe. This is also ayat Allah. When we do ikra, we can establish our civilization. We can establish our technology. We can establish uh, a lot of what do you call tools to strengthen our civilizations. When we read the ayat Allah in the universe, we produce biology, chemistry, mathematics, and other acquired knowledge, which is also important for uh, Muslim people. Dear brothers and sisters, the fourth characteristic of the beauty of Islam is the balance between akidah and akhlaq. Ibadah which is done by Muslim always covers both akidah and akhlaq. For example, sholat. Inna sholata tanha 'anil fahsya'i wal munkar. This is ibadah mahdhah, but it also encourages us to do good deeds to other people. So ibadah always embraces both akidah and akhlaq, and encourages Muslim to actually reflect their faith and their belief to other people, to be good to other people. And shaum, fasting, asyamu junnah. Shaum can prevent you from doing bad things because shaum is asyamu junnah. What does it mean? Junnah, perisai. What is in English perisai? Shield. So shaum can be our junnah. In Psalm, Rasulullah encouraged us not to say dirty things, bad things. See, this is ibadah mahdhah, but the manifestation of the ibadah mahdhah is to have a good akhlaq. Hajj, for example, if we are doing Hajj, we cannot say rafats, taboo words, dirty words. So ibadah Hajj is ibadah mahdhah, but at the same time encourage us to have a good akhlaq. Dear brothers and sisters, every Muslim is asked to strengthen their akidah first, and then akidah. With akidah, we can strengthen and cultivate a good akhlaq. So it's why Rasulullah said, "Akmalul mu'minina imanan ahsanuhum khuluqa." So Islam put the balance between akidah and akhlaq. So brothers and sisters, that's some characteristic, four characteristics of the beauty of Islam actually, and I think we still have times to discuss if you want to. In this discussion, I think it's better if you also share your opinions and share your argument, yeah, to enrich our meeting, so that the communication will be both ways, yeah, not just from me to the audience, to you all, but you can also have some opinion to be shared, right? Thank you very much for your attention, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Pak Anto, time is yours for MC to handle the discussion.
Baik, alhamdulillah, terima kasih kepada Ustadz Endro. Thank you for ceramah. Let me let me talk in Indonesia instead of English. Jadi beliau bicara tentang beberapa karakteristik Islam. Mudah-mudahan bisa kita ingat ya beberapa yang telah beliau sampaikan. Apa yang pertama? Pak Edi, apa yang pertama? Hah? You don't sleep? What do you mean? You don't get to. Oke, apa yang pertama coba? Al-Quran ya. Yang kedua, Islam adalah agama yang apa tadi istilahnya? Kafah ya. Kafah. What is kafah? Menyeluruh. Yang ketiga, sampai kemana? Sampai tiga, sampai empat. Ketiga apa ada? Diet. Ya, yang terakhir saya miss itu. Saya tertidur. Apa yang terakhir, Pak Hendro? Apa yang terakhir? Keseimbangan. Gimana nakpak? Baik. Nah, kita masih ada waktu sekitar 30 menit lagi sebenarnya untuk diskusi. Silakan Bapak Ibu yang punya pertanyaan, if you have some questions atau apapun, silakan disampaikan. Menambahkan juga boleh. Ibu ada pertanyaan, Bu? Oke, tidak ada ya. Mas Lukman ada pertanyaan? Oke. Baik, mungkin ada tambahan dari Pak Hendro.
Abdullah, I would like you to share your experience of how you interact with the Quran, right? So that yeah, Abdullah or your brother will be okay. Right. So how based on your experience, how you interact with Quran? Okay. Would you share, please? What have you benefited from Quran? What sort of advantages have you benefited from? Mhm. Okay, okay, that's great. That's great. Is it Abdullah? Yeah, Abdullah. Okay. Furkan, would you like to share some of your experience in interacting with the Quran, please? Could you just give us examples of the good deeds taught by the Quran, the good deeds to other people, which is taught by the Quran, a verse or an ayah or something like that. Okay, thank you, brother, for the points that you have explained. Probably any other opinions uh, other comments or sharing the experience, Bapak Ibu? Mhm. Pak Nur menawi mboten saged basa Inggris saged basa Jawi monggo. Menika kula basa Inggris jalaran kula dipun kengken basa Inggris supados tiang-tiang enem menika saged paham. And Ibu-ibu, I do apologize because this evening I speak in English because Pak Aru told me to speak in English so that the young people can understand, and our brothers from other countries. So this is international meeting. All right. Okay. All right. Any other points that you are going to say? You're going to explain? Quran actually teaches us to be Abdullah, yeah, good Abdullah, and to be Furqan, because it teaches us to be a good hamba Allah, yeah, by obeying His rules and His values, right? But at the same time, by reading the Quran and internalizing its values, we can differentiate between good and bad, so that it means we become Furqan. So I think since you have a good name, okay, if you do not have any comments and opinions, right? Uh, I think I give times back to Master of Ceremony while waiting for the Isha prayer. Thank you.
Okay, I have one question actually, Ustaz Andro, in regard to the concept of kafah. You know, the this concept is not well understood by every Muslims, because I think there are some Muslim who think that Islam is more about, let's say, spiritual thing. Let's say doing ibadah, doing salat, uh, or the five pillar of Islam. As far as we are doing that, we already think that we already being a good Muslim. Even, you know, if we talk about politics, for example, I think there are some Muslims think that politics is something it's not supposed to talk in the mosque, for example. Politics is dirty, thing like that. And I believe there are a large amount of Muslim. Yeah, I mean there are a large number of Muslim think this way. So how do you think? How do we deal with this kind of understanding?
The concept of kafah, I think, is explained in the surah, the ayah. Ya ayyuhalladzina amanu dkhulu fis silmi kafah wa la tatabi'u khutuwati syaitan. Kafah means that right, you're right, that Islamic values is not only concerned with the ritual things like shalat or shaum, but actually embraces a lot of aspect in our life, right? Like what I have said before, that actually we can bring Islam to other aspects of life like education, economy, and even politics. So when we manifest the values of Islam in those aspects, we have practiced the principle of kafah. And this surah also suggests that don't don't follow the footstep of Satan, of Shaitan, because the values outside Islam is having to do with it. uh, satanic values, you know. So, so that if we can make sure that the principle of Islam can be brought to every aspect of life, so inshallah, we really implemented the kafah values of Islam. In education, for example, Allah and Rasulullah taught us to brings the principle of Islam to our educations. Bring the akidah first, and then the development of akhlaq. In terms of the morality to other peoples, there are a lot of verses that teach us to have a good a deeds and a good morality to other peoples. So I think related to the principle of shumuliyah, I think kafah can be meant by bringing about the Islamic values to every aspect of our life. That's my explanation, brother. Maybe other sisters, you want to give other opinions? Brother, you want to give another opinion or to share? You want to share, brother? Okay, thank you.
Well, if there are no more questions or comments, I think that's all our pengajian for tonight. We say thank you so much for to Pak Hendro for delivering speech. Hopefully, what he has already explained can be understood and applicable in our life. And let's close this pengajian by saying hamdalah, alhamdulillah rabbil alamin, and doa kafaratul majlis. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik, and see you again in the future time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.